Is Hannibal here from the HannibalTV.com with my weekly review of the points I find interesting in Dave Meltzer's Wrestling Observer. There's a lot in here I don't find interesting that I don't report on, but you guys might, so you guys can get the Observer yourself if you want to read it. One thing I did find interesting, I've been talking about all the no-shows on AEW, people they false advertise for Canadian shows. There was false advertisements for every single one of their Canadian shows so far, including at least 6 major players for the 1 year in Ottawa. But this is pretty bad for the June 20th taping in Allentown. Of all the people on the poster, according to the Observer, only Malachi Black was actually on the show. So Malachi Black, who's the second person on the lower right-hand side of this person, was the only one to show on the show. And they actually had a decent crowd in Allentown. But how many people came for the ones that were on the poster? The Allentown crowd, to be exact, was, I mean, I don't know how many of this is comp, but 2,951 fans. So I'll start with the AEW news. They were also in Buffalo this week. 4,000 fans for Dynamite. Apparently, that's about all the news for the week that I found interesting of AEW. WWE is a little bit more interesting. Officially, they announced their multi-year contract with the Indiana Sports Corporation, to have WrestleMania, SummerSlam, and Royal Rumble at Locust Oil Stadium. SummerSlam will be 2 days starting next year. And apparently this deal includes a lot of Raw and SmackDowns, not only in Indianapolis, but in Fort Wayne and in Evansville as well. I have been to Evansville before. I did do like a 4+ hour shoot interview with Tracy Smothers there, and sorry about his passing. And I remember I actually went out in Evansville the night before, which was all right to see the town, but it wasn't really. I went to the casino and a couple bars, and that wasn't really my scene at the bars. Apparently, the deal for this Indiana deal runs until 2032. And I guess there was a Raw in Indianapolis Monday when they announced the deal. They had 11,316 fans there for Raw. And as part of this Indiana deal, they're going to be getting the WWE will be getting the largest WrestleMania deal to date. Pat McAfee had a lot to do with this deal coming through apparently. And I did see Triple H on the Pat McAfee show, and I know I always pronounce his last name wrong. I forget how to pronounce it right, so sorry. As far as what Triple H talked about on that show, he talked about doing a NXT event on the Pat's show. Let's just put it that way. And he also said something interesting. He said WWE today. I did watch the show, by the way. I'm not just regurgitating the Observer for this. He said that WWE is a television entertainment show about sports. It's not a sports event. So if it's a television scripted entertainment show about sports, why are the wrestlers not allowed to join the actors union? Or why isn't, I guess they can be in the actors union if they're doing an outside acting project, but why are wrestlers not considered actors if it's an entertainment show about wrestling? To me, they should be allowed to, but they're getting paid enough these days with the minimum pay of 350 grand, hardly having to work anymore. I mean, it's not like the old days of 7 days a week, sometimes double shots, and getting paid off the house. So overall, it's a lot better. I just find it weird if they want to be classified so much as entertainment, why the wrestlers aren't actors. The other interesting thing I saw on this Pat show podcast was that Triple H talked about the Damian Priest botch in his match with Drew McIntyre, and he talked about how it was a mistake, and he got the news of it on his headset in the back, and he started to panic. But don't worry, Damian Priest was not hurt, and mistakes like that happen. But luckily, nobody was hurt, and Drew was able to improvise. So I mean, for better or worse, kayfabe's totally gone, totally gone. They're just going to not even try and pretend like even that this mistake that actually looked real was real. And then in the same, here's the funny thing, in the very same interview, Triple H talked about how the wrestlers don't like it when you call it fake and how they'd rather it be taken more serious. Well, you're giving away all the tricks. You're giving away all the tricks. You're talking about how the Damian Priest thing was a mistake and he didn't actually get hurt. Why the hell should I not say it's fake? Why when I and oh, by the way, I watched that. McIntyre is still bumped off of that even though he wasn't touched. He's still bumped. It wasn't as bad as the guy that whatever his name is, he's in TNA now, Top Dollar, when he missed his dive and like five of them bumped. Yes, that's why I call it fake. Because stuff like that makes it look fake and exposing the business so much. Yeah, you can say I'm old school, but like it's too fake. It's too fake. So I can't get offended anymore if people call it fake. I'm accepting of this realism. I'm not going to be hating on it. They're making more money than ever. They have more revenue sources than ever, but there wasn't a lot of interest in the last couple pay-per-views. That's also a fact. Actually, the last, other than like in the towns where they happened, overall, like they didn't like blow up Google or anything like that. But they're making more money than ever. So I'm not going to complain that they're exposing the business. I'm accepting it, but you can't say that, oh, we don't like it when you call it fake, but by the way, it's fake. Because you got to at least try to suspend this. Why, like, it just kills it for me when people like that just go overboard. Like, oh, he didn't get hurt. It looked like he got hurt. Don't worry, he didn't get hurt. I was on the headset making sure he came to the back after. He was fine. Drew improvised. You're really opening the curtain a lot to the point where people are going to care less and less and less. Like anyways, I'm not going to go off. I could go off on that forever. I do shoot interviews, so I'm no better in some ways, and I've done some updates explaining situations, so I'm no better, I guess. The deal I already talked about. No official financial terms were listed. However, the agency is digging into its $5 million tourism sports bid fund to help pay for WrestleMania and all these other shows. I don't know if they got 5 million a year or what, but I assume this deal is worth more than 5 million. Nick Balea, the son of Hulk Hogan, 33, was sentenced to 1 year probation June 21st after a drunk driving arrest. He pleaded guilty to driving under the influence and failing to move over for a stopped Clearwater police car. Hogan didn't show up to some of his Hulk Hogan's Real American Beer appearances after this. I don't know if he has done any since. He did one talk show, or not talk show, but one news show on News Nation yesterday where they did not ask him about this. So I imagine that he does not want to address this. He talked more about how he might have to run for president for one day, and it was basically a fluff interview to promote his beer, which he need. Why not make money off the beer? It's just as Vin. I did interview Vince Russo today, which was a very good interview. talking about the Who Killed WCW series, which, by the way, some people were saying it's not produced by the same Dark Side of the Ring people. Well, $7 Entertainment does Dark Side of the Ring Tales from the Territory and did this series. So yes, it was. And I was on Dark Side of the Ring, where they definitely did some creative editing with me. And they told me they worked for The Rock and they were on some conference calls with The Rock in like the 8-ish hours they were at my house. It was somewhere between 6 and 8 hours they were at my house for the 5 minutes of footage that they used of me. In other wrestling news, Maya Lesnar, Brock Lesnar's daughter, has attempted to make the U.S. Olympic team. So shot putter. Raw in Ottawa in a couple of weeks has 7,000 tickets out in a 20,000 seat building. They've already more than doubled what AEW had for their recent event in Ottawa, where they false advertised a ton of people, including Chris Jericho, who was in the middle of the poster. But 7,000, that's better than they were doing in the days when I was working security there, when Roman was first getting his push and when Sheamus was champion. But it's not as good as their last couple of, they've done a couple Raws there recently that had a lot more than 7,000. WWE and NXT were touring this weekend. No NXT numbers, but WWE in Bloomington, Illinois had 4,300. And in Kalamazoo, Michigan, the next night they had 4,200. SmackDown in Chicago had 14,698. They did not sell out despite having CM Punk on the card, which they did advertise him for. He didn't wrestle, but I'm actually surprised they didn't sell out. I remember the last time they were in Chicago, they actually, if you guys remember, they didn't even have the Titantron. They had to make the little entrance to like pack more people in there. Or maybe that was Survivor Series, but I seem to recall they may have been back once more since Survivor Series. And I do recall that they definitely had to shrink it last time. As far as the other wrestling news, Jamie Kellner, who was the one that worked for Turner, who actually cut the cord on WCW, died at 77 this week. Coincidentally, the same week that the last episode of Who Killed WCW aired, which this week's was by far the most boring episode. The rating was down this week. I think the Vince Russo episode actually may have done the best rating, either that or the first one. It was close, but I don't have the rating right offhand, but I know it was definitely down this week. 0.05, which, by the way, that's a lot better than TNA, which I don't even see a rating for TNA this week. The last couple weeks they haven't even made a 0.01, but this allegiance with WWE is definitely helping getting a buzz with the product. So I will say they're on a better track, and they have PCO promoting the hell out of this Montreal event that they're doing coming up, which is going to be their biggest crowd since the Hogan era. All directly due, well, it's directly due to PCO and his local promotion of the event, but also this whole WWE influence. Um, it's unknown if Jeff Hardy will be allowed in Canada for the Montreal taping. Canada's very strict on letting people in with criminal records, but WWE in the past has able to pull some strings to get them in, and TNA is working with WWE now, so who knows? Arena Mexico sold out with 15,000 fans June 21st for Fantastica Mania. And that's about it. Make sure tomorrow night, I'm real excited about this. By the way, please give this video a thumbs up. But tomorrow night, we are doing a big event Great North Wrestling Schools Out Slam in Napanee, Ontario, featuring Renee Dupree, who I interviewed on here a few days ago. Wrestling Nathan Banner, former Pro Wrestling 01 Japan star. The Blood Hunter is going to be returning. Paul Roma, Mario Mancini, Angel Medina, who's coming in today. I believe he's just landed. So that's something I'm really pumped about. We are going to try and live stream it. And I honestly think the live stream is going to work. So tomorrow night, 7 p.m., The Hannibal TV on Facebook and YouTube. You can check out the live stream. We are also coming to Petawawa, Ontario, August 31st. And some of you may have seen the trailer or the teaser. It's not really a trailer. There's been some stuff filmed for my Blood Hunter movie that we started filming, but I had some personal problems come up in my life that I had to get resolved. And they're long behind me now, and I'm going to finish the movie. I'll be shooting the wrestling scene of the movie before the event starts, like before the first match, August 31st. Katie Lee Burchill and the Warlord are going to be on that event. Richie Hodge, what's the story? Thanks for causing Mario to get all angry and cranky at me the other day. Thanks a lot, Richie. But it's all right. Oh, there you go. You're apologizing for it. Mike D. Mike, by the way, Piper is coming to see me Canada Day. Canada Day is Monday. And I'll show you a picture of her today. She was suntanning. Look what an adorable dog she is. I gotta end it at that because I love my dog, Piper. She's doing great these days. And I'm very happy to see her suntanning.